Washington Commander football team Redskins, they take to the road with now, quote, the best quarterback to grace this franchise maybe ever.
I love how everyone's getting their I said it. I said Jaden Daniels was better than Caleb Williams. I said it. Like everyone is loving those takes.
I definitely think some people did say it. I'll give them that.
No, there definitely were. It's just all right, guys. We're not even we're not even a game 4.
Yeah, it's not quite like last season. I don't think Caleb is going to turn into Bryce Young.
I mean, he's not as bad as Bryce Young through 3 games.
In this case, Jaden Daniels certainly looked the part and certainly was the reason the Commanders won that game last week. Plus 3.5 this week as they take to the road to the desert, take on the Cardinals. Plus 155 on the money line. Cardinals minus 175. 50.5 is the total. Cardinals coming off, not the best situation in general. I think I'm exactly where I started with the Cardinals. The defense is not very good, and the offense can be fun at times. Looks like they could be without Trey McBride, although reading some of the beat reporter stuff. Tomorrow is the big day. If he's at practice on Thursday, then he has a chance to progress through the concussion protocol. And with Washington on a short week, Sean, coming off back-to-back games in which they did not punt.
Yeah,
Austin Eckler out, by the way.
I think that's big for them actually, because he
will they be able to do this on the road against another bad defense?
Maybe I'm gonna get maybe I'm crazy for fading them again, but I'm gonna take the Cardinals here. Cardinals coming off a loss, staying at home. You have a rookie quarterback who looked great in that game. First couple games, not as aggressive throwing the ball downfield, but really just had an amazing game against the Bengals. So shout out to him. Looked much better than he had the first couple games. And if you're a Commanders fan, obviously you're through the moon.
Stoked.
Like the guy showed a ceiling of a franchise quarterback. The problem is this is a short week. It's back to back and kind of lost in the fact that they didn't punt was they didn't force a punt against the Cincinnati Bengals. So now you're on the road again, short week after drinking a bunch of champagne. I mean, in general, when you win big as a dog on Monday night and then you're on the road again in a short week, that is a tough spot. And I think Austin Eckler being out is pretty big because he was a nice part of that offense, got them some first downs, got him going in the run game, big special teams plays. Like if you go back and look at it, I'm sure he's responsible for a number of first downs that prevented them from punting. I think if this game does turn into a shootout, eventually the Commanders are going to hit a wall and have to punt. And I don't know if their defense can keep them in the game. So now certainly if you're saying Jaden Daniels looks lights out, how can you not take him in the points? I get it. I just think this is a tough spot. And even look, like Jaden Daniels took a ton of shots. He took a ton of shots in game 2 against the Giants. He was briefly out with some sort of rib thing, whatever was going on there. I mean, look at that deep ball to Terry McLaurin, or what was the one he threw the touchdown to? The deep ball, was that McLaurin as well?
Yep.
He took an incredible shot right to the ribs. Now you have a short week. These guys in the pros really hit. I think as a quarterback, it's tough to end. He's carried the ball a bunch of times. Like this guy has taken an incredible amount of shots. Feel free to isolate that in these first 3 weeks. And I think it's going to matter when you have to travel again.
Cliff Kingsbury, does he know more about Kyler, or does Kyler know more about his offense?
Yeah, we were debating this in the office. In the office, I think there's probably a little of both there.
I like the matchup of Gannon and his defensive creativity, even though his defense has not been good.
Yeah,
against the very predictable offense that the Cliff and Washington's going to roll out there. The biggest difference we saw in the game against the Bengals was that they hit on a couple of those vertical passing plays.
Yeah.
And a couple of those were just great read. It was zero coverage and he chucked it up and the receiver made a play. That I don't know if I'm necessarily saying amazing.
But also the Bengals defense has been so bad.
But the Cardinals defense can be bad too.
Yeah.
I'd flip it around though, where I think the Cardinals are going to eat is not just Marvin Harrison. Maybe McBride's out, but guys like Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch that can run routes.
Oh yeah.
They're going to eat this secondary up. And I think this could be a real show out game for Kyler Murray. I absolutely love this. This is one of my favorite plays on the board.
Well, and the Cardinals need this more, right? Like they're a team who kind of had a little expectations. Washington, even if Jaden Daniels loses this and the Commanders lose this, they're still riding that high from Monday night. Like he'll make a couple good throws. He'll make this game exciting. Ultimately, they'll lose like 34-27.
Would you say that the Commanders could have lost the game to the Bengals?
Yeah, definitely.
Imagine going 2 straight games, not punting, and both games
were losable. They were both one-score games.
They would have lost to the Giants if the Giants had a kicker. And it's
not even to like take away from what Jaden Daniels is doing. It's just to highlight how bad his defense is.
I also think, in a way, the last 2 weeks should inform you how to play defense against this guy. And I think we're going to see Gannon force him to roll. I think you're going to see a predictable game plan for the defense. They're going to force him to move. They're going to force him to move the pocket and go from there. Cause I will say he takes the hit. He's willing to take the hit. So put him in a situation where he's going to catch that late-ish hit every time. And like you said, he was flopping around like a fish after
he just took a ton of shots.
But no, to me, this is a bet on this Arizona offense. We saw this a couple weeks ago against the Rams, but when they have an exploitable matchup, they hit the gas and they didn't let off it. So Arizona by 1 million.
Rich in the chat saying Cliff's eyes will be more red than the Cards uniforms. Arizona cover, rise up, Red Sea. Troy tuning, of course, big Commanders fan, saying the Commanders are winning 11 games. You dummies! This division sucks.
I will say, Sean, as someone who generally is not even like worried about a Commanders fan, it has been very interesting watching them go on this 2-game win streak. Very interesting. Some would say they're a little. They're out over their skis, maybe.
No, I think they'll be happy if they're 2-2 still. John,
no, but they're happy that they have the franchise quarter. Like that's the part where I'm worried because they anoint this guy as the franchise quarterback, and then he pops a rib the next week, and everyone's got to roll back those takes.
No, like, John,
RG3 all over again.
John, the chat saying Jaden isn't a pussy. That dude had no problem starting games in the SEC. Put that fake narrative to sleep. I think it's. I'm less
not calling him a pussy.
Yeah, no, I'm not calling him a pussy either. I just think a guy of his frame can't take that many shots to the ribs.